This episode of The Totally Rad Show is brought to you by The Ben Heck Show, building, modding, and electronics culture with Ben Heck and Friends. Brought to you by Element 14. Coming up on today's show, aw, he's so cute. We take a look at Kirby's epic yarn for the week.
Nintendo franchises, I would argue that the Kirby series of games are the ones where they take some of the most big risks and chances. Kirby's Canvas Curse is still one of my very favorite DS games because it was so original and unique and interesting to play. And that is the same thing, you could say the same thing for this game, Kirby's Epic Yarn, which is a Wii exclusive title that just recently was released. And one of the games that we came away from E3 most enthused about because it really is like nothing else you've seen before. It bears a little resemblance, I guess, to Little Big Planet in that it looks like a handcrafted physical game. It looks like papercraft, or in this case, yarn and stitchwork, and basically, what is it called? Scrapbooking, like a scrapbook world. You know, Kirby is made out of yarn. The entire world is made out of different fabrics. You can manipulate the world by yanking on strings and, you know, accordioning things together to allow you to jump to different ledges. It is a standard platformer, but that idea of whimsy and scrapbook world really sets it apart.
Co-op, I think, really shines in that. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
Well, tell me, we played a lot of this during the 24-hour gaming festival, so hopefully you saw us playing it. You saw how much fun I was having if you watched our stream. What did you think of Kirby?
I mean, at the end of the day, it is as amazing as I thought it would be from E3, and yet even more amazing than that. I think that was the thing that really blew my mind was just the little hands-on that we had at E3, it was an amazing game. It was a joy to play. It was fun to play with two players. The look is amazing. I think this is where the Wii can hopefully learn a lesson, which is the games can look amazing on the Wii. You just don't have to make them as 3D shooters, you know what I mean? Like first-person shooters with like rendered size, and then you start to look like the N64 again, you know what I mean? Or the GameCube. So for me, because I never once thought to myself, almost all the games that we play on the Wii that are, you know, trying to be sort of next-gen-y, graphics-y, the entire time I'm going, God, these graphics are horrible, God, these graphics are horrible. This game, it was the exact opposite. It was, this is so beautiful to watch. But then I think it really got to the point where it was so innovative moment to moment, which was the stuff that was really shocking to me, was all of a sudden, you know, you're playing around, you're under the sea, you're like, yeah, and then all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, we're dolphins. Now we're playing a dolphin game.
And almost every level has some of that.
Yeah, and that was really great, like turning around and seeing you guys are like, oh yeah, we're walking mech tank. And it's like, what?
Tell me what you thought of playing the entire game with your controller sideways in that old school
I mean, to me,
NES
that's
way.
the only way for me to play a game and really enjoy it on the Wii. If I had to be like pointing at stuff on the thing, it would not have been as much fun for me. Plus, there is a little bit of that nostalgia feeling that it's two buttons. It's two buttons.
The controller really isn't comfortable that way over long periods of time.
Well,
you know?
no, but neither was the Nintendo controller. I mean, it sort of builds in the nostalgia. It's like the square
remember
box
the pain?
of pain. Yeah.
Remember the discomfort? Dan, what did you think of Kirby?
What was the game that we played recently? Was it? I can't remember if it was Kirby or not, where we had to quickly turn.
Metroid.
No. Where
Metroid
we were together and we go, this is fun, and then also we had to do a mini game where we had to we were together. It must have been Kirby.
Kirby had that sequence that it turns into Canvas Curse, basically.
With the train.
And you have to,
Yes.
That was where you said
Miserable.
it broke, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was only
one
for 5
small
seconds.
little moment in the game, but I agree.
But aside from that, could not be more clever and creative, moment to moment, not level to level, moment to moment.
Yeah.
And it is odd that Kirby is this weird benchmark of all the characters. Mario is quite the benchmark as well for innovation Nintendo.
I think you could safely say that.
And Zelda has its moments, but Kirby really is the most, they take the most drastic innovations in the Kirby franchises. But franchise entries. But great game. I loved those every level. I loved that it wasn't level 1, Green Hill Zone for 3 levels, then Spring Yard Zone for 3 levels. you're a Sonic fan. You know what I mean? It was like a new milieu every level, not like.
Well, they did have those wedge worlds that you were stitching together to create the entire sphere of the world, and those were unified under a
Semi-themed,
common
yeah.
theme. But they varied greatly between subworlds of that.
And you also mentioned the where you're a dolphin and then you're a tank, and every
Fire
level,
engine.
there's this formula in the game where every level ends on this like vehicle part. We were talking about being overpowered in our BlizzCon segment, and this really gives you this feeling of exhilaration when you're suddenly this vehicle that races through a level. And also, what was a lot of fun, speaking of being overpowered, is the 0 penalty for death.
Oh, that was the best thing.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't 0 penalty for death. There
yeah.
was you're trying to get a either bronze, silver, or gold medal in the completion of the level. And to do so, you have to get a certain number of gems, which are sort of like
Slid
beads.
across your abacus, your pointicus
Yeah,
at the top.
it gives you a constant
Yeah.
feedback as to how far you're progressing toward those next level milestones. And if you die, your guy spews out those beads, and you have to either recollect them or they'll disappear.
But it's not like
Or you
Sonic
could
where
keep
you
going.
die and then you're like, oh, I have to start the level all over again.
Which
You
is
know what I mean?
key,
That's what it is.
Which is
I
key.
think.
What it is positive. It's not pain of death. It's encouragement to do
Yeah,
good.
you want to keep your
And-
gems. You don't want to avoid death.
Right. And which is key in co-op, because so often in co-op, when people are jumping on each other by accident or need someone to help them here or whatever, someone's dying and they're holding you back and it becomes a hassle. And this game doesn't have that because there isn't that pain of death.
Yeah.
So I think it really handled co-op very well. Though a little bit sometimes you're like jumping on each other and you don't mean to.
Yeah, I like that though. Although you can weaponize your friend
the friend,
basically.
Right.
That was really cool. And this game has that feel that we often associate with those indie games that really take big chances.
Interesting, yeah.
And here's a big budget, well, a relatively big budget mainstream from a big publisher that has that kind of risk involved, and it really taking a fresh look at a very tried and true genre. And if this year wasn't packed with so many incredible games and didn't have something like Mario Galaxy 2 already in it, I would say this is one of my favorite games of the year. I just love the feeling of playing this game. And it's a lesson in great design, not just great platforming design, which it does have. It has really clever built-in difficulty levels in the sense that you're never selecting a difficulty level, but you can try to get to the more difficult gems or try to gold star level.
Interesting.
Nintendo always does such a great job of that you don't have to sit there and go, oh, I'm going to play on easy, medium, or hard. It's within the gameplay environment. You can decide to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
You can say, can I get to that next more difficult thing?
Yeah.
That is an awesome design element, but then the design overlay of this wonderful take on this world, and each level has such joy in it. You know, there's the cake factory, and then there's the undersea world. You know, I was a big fan of the cake factory, I will freely admit.
Yes.
Well, you're a big fan of cake.
Well, who's not?
Yeah.
I mean, I like pie. I prefer pie.
Well, it wasn't a pie
he is
world.
Mr. Pie.
I am Mr. Pie. But this is a game I think that age 8 to 80 would love.
Well, that's the other thing is this is a game that you can play with your kid and not feel like, well, I'm just playing this from a kid. You know what I mean? Like, but there is joy to be had. It's a great game.
Easily recommendable.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Would you
especially
prefer
if you have a Wii.
Would you prefer this game to Mario Galaxy 2, or do you?
I do, most definitely.
Why is that?
I didn't like the layout of Mario Galaxy 2. It felt like we were now in this 3D world arbitrarily. I love that it's sort of classic side-scroller with what I would consider sort of next-gen conceptual updates.
This is also an example of it's got an awesome idea and it really digs into it.
Yeah.
As opposed to Mario Galaxy 2 was like every level it's like, well, there was flying and then now here's sliding and now here's what. And as like each level it's kind of changed. It didn't really dig in and really explore the details of how every possibility of that is cool. In Mario
Well, how is the
Galaxy.
difference of changing into a fire engine now different than changing into a bee suit now?
I think because like in Kirby, it's the idea of, oh, this is awesome how the yarn, you yank this so the stitches of the world go. Then, oh, that's so cool, I'm inside the thing, and it's like, so in Mario Galaxy, it would have been one level is yarn level, and you're yarn guy.
Okay.
And the next level, you're 3D floaty, you know, I don't know. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
It's a great game, and I recommend everybody giving it a shot if you have a Wii.
Most definitely.
For sure.
And all guys do. All right, remember to stick tuned. After this, we are going to be talking about this day in rad history. But first, our sponsor. So join zany electronic hobbyist Ben Heck and his friends as they build and modify a host of amazing community-inspired creations. Tune into the Ben Heck Show every other Monday right here at Revision 3. And of course, the Ben Heck Show is brought to you exclusively by Element 14, the online store and community for electronics design engineers. Check them out, element14.com. I actually do want to check them out. I feel like I could be a guy who gets really into that crazy stuff. I just never tried.
You could be a mini Ben Heck, Ben Heck Jr.
I could be. I could be Alex Heck.
Remember James Bond Jr.?
Anyway, we will see you tomorrow. Peace out. Woo!
Don't miss tomorrow's show where we review the movie Monsters.
On this day in rad history in 2002, October 27th, was the release of GTA Vice City for the PlayStation 2. That was back when the PlayStation 2 was the biggest console on the planet, and Grand Theft Auto was the biggest franchise on the planet. It instantly became the biggest selling game of the year.
And to blow people's minds, this was the first GTA game I ever played.
Oh, really? You didn't ever play Grand Theft Auto 3?
Grand Theft Auto 3, no. And I avoided it because I don't like open world games.
Right.
And so I avoided it. Even then, I avoided it. And then I was over at my buddy Will's house, and he was like, yo, this is great. I think they got an old copy for Christmas. Like, that was the thing. Or like one, I don't know why, but we were there playing, jamming out. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is actually quite fun. But it was because I was playing with them, and then I revisited San Andreas when it came out, and I was like, yeah, I don't like open world games.
What about you, Dan? Did you
Loved it. I liked 3, loved Vice City.
because of the
Well, it's
Miami
80s,
Vice
man.
80s
I
theme?
love that. I mean, I would play that game. I would just listen to the
And it had-
music.
and introduce
drive my car, wearing this
motorcycles.
jacket, listen to that music.
Helicopters, heliocopters, yeah.
Great game.
Epic.
Great game. I almost wish we could play that again. They could do a Vice City 2.